there's a resolution, which is number 2014-21. Oh no, that's their resolution. Ours is 14-11-R. And so this is what's on the docket here to approve, and that allows the supervisor to execute the intergovernmental agreement with the So, do we have a motion to approve the resolution 14-11-R?
With the option to discuss approval of, motion to approve the intergovernmental agreement with Plainfield Park District.
Second.
Okay, discussion.
One thing I'll just point out, and this is just from, if they're running tractors and equipment, typically bike paths are not designed for heavy machinery. So just keeping that in mind. Now, sometimes they are built so cop cars can drive around it, but that wouldn't be the case because it's such a small park. You can see it from the road, you can see it from the parking lot. So I would just point out that I don't see anywhere in this agreement that holds them accountable, that I'm just looking, it just says it allows them to use it. So if they're running equipment and something gets damaged, who's gonna be held responsible? Obviously, we would wanna hold them responsible in some case. I didn't see anything.
Wait, that's in the, you've got the resolution, and then you have the actual intergovernmental
License.
agreement.
I didn't see anything that would,
That's,
Yeah.
I saw a paragraph that said we would not hold him responsible for anything.
That's what I'm saying.
I didn't see one that said that,
Yeah, both parties shall it should be indemnify and hold harmless the other party, its officers, blah, blah, blah. But I haven't seen anything that
Right.
said.
So I would just point out that we're kind of, when I read this, a couple days ago, I didn't notice anything, and maybe someone can point something out different from me. But if you said they're running a tractors and equipment and they're gonna use the path to access it, I'm just saying I would hate for them to use
no,
it.
they're not really gonna use the path to, it's just turf.
So where
They're
is,
not gonna
where are the
use the path.
tractors, cause I see the piece of the parcel of land, and where are they bringing them from then? Is there
our
a
parking
shed?
lot.
So they're gonna come to the parking lot, park their truck, no, they're just gonna park their truck there, then they will take the mower
And put
and
it in
just
the-
drive,
oh,
no,
okay,
just
so
drive the mower across our property.
So they're
into
gonna
the-
pull up into the parking lot with a trailer, and they're gonna bring out the mower, put it on the grass, and then drive the mower
Drive
to.
the mower
They're
over.
driving the mower, not any vehicles on the path, is what you're saying?
Correct.
Okay.
They're not even driving the mower on the path, they're just driving it across our grass to get to their grass.
There's nothing heavier than a mower that's going.
No, they
across
have
that.
like, as far as excavation and plans like that, they have no plans to do it. They don't really have any plans to develop it at all,
Okay.
right now. So, I mean, that's what they were indicating to me.
No.
They're gonna grow turf there for the foreseeable future, and they'll have a plan at some point in time down the road.
Chuck, I'm not an attorney either. None of us are. However, I'm gonna say that perhaps maybe there should be something in the agreement that says in the event that you decide that, you want to do something, that, there'll be, it'll have to be rediscussed or something, you know what I mean? So in the event that they decide they wanna excavate or something like that, then there should be.
Well, you could cancel the agreement with 30 days notice.
That's the one
See,
thing.
there's your out.
Where
So-
does 30 days say that in any of the documents that we have?
It says right here, the term of this license shall be for 5 years, the date of execution of this license agreement. Either party may terminate this agreement by providing 30 days of written notice to the other party at the address listed above. It's number 2 on license agreement.
Gotcha.
Along the same line, in Florida, not Florida, but in Illinois, is there a legal right of access, that they could pull? Where they could say, we have the right to.
If you're
use it?
landlocked in surveying, you would have what's called an ingress egress easement. If you own a parcel of land, you are landlocked,
Mhm.
you can create an access easement. So essentially, we could be forced into doing this anyway. So, because they have to have rights to access their property.
Right.
Because they could essentially say they need to build a road through there to access that property. At some point, we would have to figure out how to do that,
So
so
we didn't give them the property, right?
doesn't
So
matter.
the
If it's
develop-
landlocked, it has to be
the
accessible
developer-
to the main roads. That's a law. You can't landlock somebody. There would have to be an ingress egress easement at some point if someone was to develop that property. And we would have to try to decide and work with that party to either provide that to them, and then we would have to give them an easement, and there'd be a survey done, and that would be how that would
Even
be.
though the developer who developed all around it, landlocked it,
Right.
gave it to them.
Correct. That's why they have
You
that,
have
because
to
then
remedy
people,
that.
governments could build all the way around someone's property and say, well, you're kind of SOL, you have to sell to us. Mm-mm. Ingress egress easement would be forced upon that situation, allowing people to access the property. So at this point, this is just saying, hey, we'll let you drive on our property. We could cancel the agreement and raise heck if they're gonna be doing
So
something
right
that
now
could
with this
damage our
agreement,
property.
right now with this agreement, if I read it right, they're going to mow and take care of the property, is that
Their,
what I heard?
their property.
Oh,
It
their
doesn't
property.
say
Their property,
that.
not
Our
our
property.
It doesn't say that in the agreement, it just says they're giving them access to their property. So essentially, they could do almost anything, but that's what they're saying they're gonna be using it for. That's what we're under the impression of, you know.
So they can't hold an event out there, they can't have a big soccer tournament.
No,
and-
they can't have any events there at all, they have no parking.
But I mean, they
And
can't use our
they
parking lot.
can't use our parking
Okay.
lot, oh, no,
Okay.
Yeah,
no, we don't have enough room, we don't have enough parking in our lot for our purposes,
Right.
let alone for theirs, so
Right.
that'll never happen.
Because this does say that we will be allowing them to, their contractors to access the property, so they could come in with a big 7-10 combination and start digging up and.
Well, they're saying, because they're contracting out the mowing.
Yeah.
So technically, that's why it's kind of, I think I've fallen in the same camp with Raquel, it's kind of sketchy in terms of the details, it doesn't really protect us if they go, well, we're gonna develop it and we're gonna, well, you guys gave us access, we're gonna run machines back there.
Yeah.
I would hope that Plainfield Park District would have a little courtesy, but I don't think,
Well, they want to, well, you know, you could say that this is kind of a first step in more cooperation with them.
Sure.
See, so that's because they have indicated that they, in return for an easement there, they would consider doing, mowing our
Yes.
property also.
which would give
So
us
this is a
savings.
whole further discussion, because Bill and I were just getting into this a little bit, where we were talking about planning for next year and who's gonna mow it and what, because we have an employee that we're kind of going back and forth with, and who works for us some in the road district some, and he was talking about taking the employee back into the road district, and then we would hire somebody hourly to mow the park for next year. So that's a possibility. So now Plainfield said, well, they might do it in return for some consideration for an easement or something. So
Sure.
that's also,
In the
so
works.
that's kind of there if we want to go down that path.
Sure.
So that's, so they want to, they want to cooperate with us.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it, because their park is gonna be of not much value unless,
Other than they have to maintain it and mow it. 'cause it'll become a wheat
unless
field.
they have cooperation from us, their
Right.
park is. So,
So that property line does not come up to 127th Street at all?
theirs doesn't.
Theirs
No,
does not?
it's to the northeast.
It's
corner.
northeast.
It's landlocked.
It's landlocked.
They're surrounded. Yeah.
Yep. So it's kind of an unusual deal, but I don't know. I didn't create it.
Two suggestions I might make to this. One is that there might be language in here that says that they would notify us in advance of any intentions to do anything other than maintain the property, so we know in advance that they're gonna do it, so we could exercise our 30 days if we felt that was detrimental. And I wonder if there ought to be some sort of language in here that they would remediate any damage that they did to our property traversing across it.
Yeah.
Okay, so remediate damage and advise if they're going to.
Any action other than maintaining the park as it maintaining the property as it currently is.
So give notice if they do anything beyond driving a
It
lawn.
just gives us a little heads up, I think.
How about this, advise if they're going to further develop the property?
Yeah, is there
Does that
something that you
work?
can put in?
Why is that gonna be further developed? I mean,
If
if they decided to, you know, do anything that's heavy, and maybe they're not further developing, maybe they wanna, you know, dig and, you know, maybe there's coal or oil underneath there, that's not really,
Well,
I mean, like,
keep
just
in
say if you
mind-
plan on doing anything beyond mowing or beyond what was agreed, maintenance or whatever, let us know.
What about a weight restriction for any type of equipment coming in there? Because Bill would probably know best what a load limit would be for most types of work.
Why
wouldn't
don't
drive
we,
anything too heavy on
why
it.
don't we do, maybe this'll cover it. if we insert in there that they will remediate any damage caused to our property.
That'll do it,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I will, and I'll communicate with Gene Coldwater, he's the Director of Operations for the Park District, and just ask him to notify us if they plan on doing anything more than just mowing or anything like that. So, I've got a good conversation going.
Okay, so,
Was there any potential of any field to be damaged? You know, in May, when baseball, soccer, and field activities actually start taking place again, is there a safeguard that we can put
that's why
into
we're
place?
putting in there, they will remediate any damage.
Well, if it's damaged and can't be used, then doesn't the park district lose out in any monies that they would be able to obtain to rent it? It's hard to rent a damaged piece of property, you know, until it's fixed, obviously. And that might cause, the ability to lose out, again, for baseball, soccer, and whatever other, sports activities for the kids.
I wonder if the strip is not gonna be, is not gonna affect, I'm thinking the strip of land that it's gonna take to go over to the other property is not really gonna affect
Yeah.
the
If you-
field
if you-
where they
and
play. or
I
whatever.
drive by the park
Yeah, I would
every
hope not,
day,
but-
and it's.
But that's where they're supposed to take it in though. I mean, like, based on this map, this little piece right here is supposed to be where they bring in the mower, say, so to speak. So if you have this big old park, that strip where they bring in the mower should not affect.
If a
The
mower's
rest.
the only piece that they bring in, again.
But if they brought in, okay, so if they brought in an earth mover, they brought in a bulldozer, if they brought in I don't know, give me something really big and messy, you know, a tank. If they brought in a tank, it's still gonna be as wide as,
Anything.
yeah, as wide as the tank or whatever, or wide as, you know,
Strip.
took for them, that strip. It's not gonna, it shouldn't affect the entire park unless
Correct.
they're doing donuts in the park.
Unless they went through the middle of a field or a section of a field that was necessary to take in.
But they only
Well,
have access to this piece, right? Isn't that what it is?
Well, Chuck said he's gonna park the vehicle in the lot. and
Well,
then
they
go
have to
from there.
move the mower from the parking lot to, you know, so then,
And the
you know,
mower's
I
not
mean,
a deal.
but, you know, then we get into, well, how do you drive the mower across our property? I mean, there's so many combinations here as far as what could go wrong.
Yeah, well, that's,
When are they looking, I mean, when are they looking to start maintaining this? This is
Spring.
Spring.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll have time to talk to them, we'll have
I mean, if it's not a big deal, it's something we should table and then do later, or should we move
For a
it?
strip,
I
wait.
really
No,
would rather
not for a strip of land where they're gonna like drive
Well,
a vehicle
you're missing
just
my-
from
you're
point
missing
A to
my
point
point.
B.
I wanna move forward with this, so I'm saying, do we move forward and approve this and then get an agreement later next month to say, hey, just in case, can we insert this language in there? Cause you're not gonna be doing anything till spring, so do we move forward with this and then get language put in there to say, hey, just in case you do damage something, it's on you guys, not us?
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Well, we can have a motion
Yeah.
to add that they will remediate any damage.
Okay.
We'll do that, we can do that right now.
Okay.
And then we'll just approve it with that new language.
Fantastic.
That
So
works.
you're gonna reject it.
I withdraw my motion to approve the intergovernmental agreement with Plainfield Park District.
Okay, then you wanna make a new motion?
I would like to make a new motion to bore the audience to death. To approve the intergovernmental agreement with added language that any damage, what was the statement you said?
Plainfield Park District will
Plainfield Park-
remediate any damage.
Plainfield Park District will remediate any damage done to our property.
I second.
Okay, discussion,
are we going to put any kind of restrictions on size of equipment coming in there in this, or no?
I don't know what, I don't
You know, if they agree to remediate it, we don't care if they make deep trenches as long as they fix it, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think we're covering ourselves
We would
pretty
have to go
well.
back and do research project as to what the weight is on pieces of equipment. I don't know what it is.
But we just put in there, we agreed to
If we start
remediate.
seeing big
Guys,
ruts
but
in
let's
there, we
keep in
just
mind-
exercise
let's
that
just
30
keep in
days,
mind
say
that they
fix it and
can-
go away.
They can, they're landlocked, so if they really wanted to, they could say, they could force us to. So at this point, we're just saying, let's get this passed, it's an easement. If you damage our property,
Fix it.
fix it.
Okay, roll call.
All right, Supervisor Kern,
Yes.
Trustee Holst, Trustee Mitchell,
Yes.
Trustee Ronsky,
I'm going to abstain on that.
And trustee Durango?
Yes.
Okay, correspondence, just one thing regarding, the land, that we have for sale in Naperville. Right now, there's an appraisal process going on, and we are awaiting that number, and that number is going to be instrumental, very crucial as to what Naperville is gonna offer us for that land, because and they have told us that they intend to make an offer based on the appraisal.
Great.
So, that's it. So haven't seen it yet, so that is the update on that.
Are you anticipating it to be up or down, or any ideas, any feeling?
Well, I think the market's probably up a little bit over the last couple of years. It's been about 2 years since we had that appraised, so I'm optimistic. And that is it. That's all I have. Committee reports, Park Committee, Trustee Ronsky.
I met with Mr. Gentile from the Wheatland Athletic Association and talked with him about the potential of being a member of the Park District Committee when we get this thing going. And he brought up a point that I was completely unaware of. He lives outside of Wheatland Township by a couple of blocks. And while I wasn't sure how the board or the governmental body would agree to allow him to be part of this committee, with him taking and being a huge source of use and revenue and things like that to the park itself. The first question is he allowed to be on a committee living outside of Wheatland Township?
I think we have in the past had some people who were not residents who were on committees.
Okay.
And he might have been one of them, because there was actually a committee several years ago to study developing another park.
Okay.
And he was on it, I do believe, wasn't he?
Was for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Also had an opportunity to speak to some of the people that use the park for soccer purposes, and they were asking about, is the park gonna be maintained as it has been so far here? So I told them after we get this committee going, that I'd appreciate any comments and suggestions on the needs and safety issues for the kids that are in fact using the park. So with that, there's nothing else going on now that I know that Mr. Gentile can in fact be part of this. I'll reach out to him again and reach out to a couple of the senior trustees here to get a little advice on putting this committee together here.
Yeah, I would say some of the issues that, I'd like to see looked at would be our pricing. Are our rates competitive, or are they not, or where are we on this scale there? Just overall maintenance and beautification. Do we need to do anything there? I mean, in the past, we've had people go out and plant flowers and things like that, so, those kinds of things. Lighting, is it sufficient? Signage, those are a few things that come to mind. So, okay, thank you. Deb is not here. Oh,
And
sorry.
speaking of the park, we will have that seasonal gate and or wire up by next week or so.
Good.
So the park will be closed. You won't be able to drive into the park in the next couple of weeks, because we don't want people parking there in the wintertime, because they'll park there in the wintertime, there'll be a big storm, and because we don't plow the park, they'll call us and want to know why we didn't plow now, so.
Okay, Transportation Committee, Deb is not here. Senior Committee, Raquel?
Alrighty, so we're having our senior committee meeting Friday, and whereby we're going to be discussing our holiday lunch, which will be next week. So very excited about that. I got some, good ideas about what we're going to do, and we're all going to, sit and mull over that. And then, of course, we're preparing for our wonderful, as I mentioned last time, our wonderful little field trip to Drury Lane. So we're going to be talking about that. If you guys know of any seniors in Wheatland Township, we would love to have you so that we can have a good time. So the more the merrier. So if you know any seniors in Wheatland Township, please have them call Carolyn to RSVP for our December Christmas bash at the Drury Lane bash. And that concludes the senior committee report.
Any questions?
Awesome.
Ben, cemetery committee.
I'm sorry I was out the last couple of months, but other things took priority. There are some numbers on the report if you want to look at them. Just a couple of things I want to reference. First of all, thanks to the highway department for dumping more rock. Honestly, that's a good thing in the turnaround or the turnabout in front of the monument, because that's where cars usually park, and that's where we need it. So thank you for thinking of us that. We can be your dumping ground for something like that. We did have an excellent fall cleanup this year with a new, hopefully soon-to-be trustee and his wife, and I and some other small helpers. We cleaned up the cemetery and took off all the artificial flowers and leftovers in the spring, and so those things sort of cleansed out, so the fall foliage and things will come in, and then we'll do a spring cleanup. First year, we've really done a good job, and the highway department picked up 7 or 8 pretty much full bags, 33-gallon bags out there of debris, and Kevin took care of that. On Halloween, as a reminder, we closed the gates on Halloween night to keep all the goblins out, and we didn't have any problems, because remember, that's the day it turned cold and windy and a little rainy, so we were fortunate there.
Do you guys usually have shenanigans in town forward and Halloween?
Yes, I've heard about those in the past, and in the past, either the sheriff who is the authority in our
Kind of
area
controls
or
it.
Naperville police will sit back there and sort of watch everything that's going on, and they sort of hide. And they've done that in the past, but they're not always there. The main thing I want to mention is we still don't have the proposed ordinance or draft, if you will, from legal, but I think that's okay. Doug and I had a real good conversation the other day, Doug, on this interment rights. You know, that is, you're buying the grave and owning it, as in property ownership. No, you're not. You're really buying the grave and you're owning the rights to inter or to use it for interment. And that's an important legal distinction, if you will. Otherwise, people could say, but I own 5 by 10 square feet out there and I'm a unincorporated landowner. I mean, if you really take it to the nth degree, and that's not true.
So the cemetery owns the land.
Cemetery owns the land.
And the buyer is buying the right to.
Yes,
Buys a lot.
in today's vernacular, that's correct. For the last 175 plus years out there and selling graves, people have the concept that they own that property. It's not exactly correct.
Was somebody trying to claim?
No, but
residence?
if we're gonna post this as an ordinance, we need to include in there, from a legal perspective, that you're really not buying the grave, and the way to do that is a simple statement. That's what we boiled it down to. One of the inserts, lines, whatever you call them, paragraphs, is that the ownership is for the interment rights, period. In other words, not go into the
Yeah, because
explanation
otherwise
of
somebody
what
could
that
go out there and they say, well, I bought the plot, I don't need it yet, but I want to use it for how I see fit, because I own it, right?
To that degree, the
Yeah.
other side of that is, what the government would say is, we didn't record it with, you know, we never got to record all the graves
Right.
with the county, and no, because if you're a property owner, you're supposed to do that, and then you got parceling and all that other legal stuff. So we're trying to make that a real clear line in the ordinance, and as soon as I get that draft, we'll get it to the cemetery committee for
So the ball is in
finalization.
his court right now,
Yes,
the
sir.
lawyer then?
I was hoping to get it by now, but I'll push for next month, because I want to include this reference in my letter to my constituents in
Yeah, well,
December. so.
tentatively, we have it on the agenda for next month to
Good.
approve it. so.
That property's tax exempt, correct?
Yes,
Real estate
yes.
taxes?
Yeah.
So if the attorney owned it, it would no longer be a tax exempt piece, that 5 by 10 foot piece.
That's another way to look at it,
Yeah.
yeah.
Pay taxes for the rest of your life.
Okay.
And,
And beyond.
got it.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is that it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good, thanks. Bill, anything for communication?
Yes, I'm passing the
Are you still on the
You know what? I'm formally tonight passing the Communications Committee Chair position to Rick Peabody. the new
Oh,
clerk.
congratulations.
So congratulations, Rick.
Tell me about
Great.
Yeah.
Well, surprise,
You'll
surprise.
find out later.
Thank you.
All right, that's great.
Basically, it has to do with website and, you work with Carolyn and the website and other,
In that case, I
And
will
whatever
report
else
that
you
everything's
do.
going smoothly.
Other
and I have no
computer
further,
stuff.
I have no further report to make tonight.
Wow, that's great.
does anybody have any new business? You got a note from Carolyn today regarding Open Meetings Act training. Everybody saw that? So that'll be your one and only reminder on that, but we are all required to take the online training. And I would really recommend that you do that because it's very educational. You learn a whole lot. It takes about 40 minutes, I think, online.
Are you gonna send us the link or anything like that?
She sent you the link.
Okay.
It's in the email.
Got it.
Yep. Anything else before we go to the bill payment? Okay, Mr. Clerk, bill payment.
Bill payment, all right, you have in front of you the list of bills. Right page here, total expenditures for the month, $218,360.44. And you see on the, it's the third page of the pack of that packet, the breakdown per fund. Let's start with a motion to approve the bills.
I move to approve the bills.
Moved by trustee Mitchell, second.
I second the motion.
Trustee Rainbow. All right, now we can have discussion. Are there any questions on any of the?
I have a couple of comments. If you will look at page 9. Yeah, page 8. Page 8, it's got the town fund budget. And you will see, there's a couple things of interest I want to point out to you. One is that the PACE grant under receipts at the top, this really caught my eye. It's code number, code
3050?
3050, PACE grant. And we have budgeted 50,000 in income. And we have minus 669.
How is that possible?
How is that possible?
Yeah.
Well, I got that figured out. They are very, very far behind in their reimbursements. We just got a check for $13,000 this week. And for last November, December, period. Okay, that's how far behind they are. So, Daryl says that he is gonna do an accrual later this year for what we're gonna be paid next year for this year. So the number's gonna come together a little bit better. But as you can see, they're way behind, and they always catch up. This happens, but it's just very slow, and it just doesn't look very good. So, but that's the explanation there. So the money's coming. I wish it was coming faster. On the other side of the coin, down under disbursements for PACE, we're way under budget there for the disbursements. So that kind of offsets that a little bit. Only 38,000 versus 94.
Is there a lack of?
Yeah, that's.
So there's
Nice
a
try,
lot of
machines.
spend. So yeah, the usage is down
Take the
somewhat.
60 grand over the 300
The
bucks.
usage is down somewhat this
It's
year.
interesting.
So that's interesting. And then a couple other things, the coding for the building improvements. It looks like, let's see, what page is that?
It's working.
That's page 9. Page 9. At the top, the first of building improvements. The budget was $550 for all the contractor work, et cetera. You see it's $571. That's a little misleading, because there's certain things, like there was 22,000 that was coded in there that was for the snowplow rack that the township purchased for the road district. That really wasn't part of the budget for this. The 550 was for this actual contracts led on this construction project. So there were a few things like that that were put in to there that make it look like this might be over budget, but it's not over budget, it's actually under budget, but that's just how this.
So why did you put it in there?
It had to be coded someplace for the county. I mean, I guess it could have been put in a contingency or something, but you got the actual